clicker doesn't work. There it goes. Everyone here has sent money to a family member in a time of need. Sending money costs, on average, 15 cents on a dollar in transaction fees to a third party. Then blockchain came along, enabling anyone to send money anywhere in the world for almost no cost. Blockchain could empower billions of people with the ability to securely manage their funds and assets. The problem with blockchain is that it's difficult to use, requiring users to understand how to access the various networks that exist and how to securely manage their credentials. Additionally, there is almost no interoperability between the various blockchain systems that exist. You can think of it this way: you can only spend euros in Europe. You can't easily trade your Bitcoin for Ethereum because the token developers are very focused on making their own token succeed. This creates the interoperability problem that we see today. IOV solves this problem by creating a single human value address. This human value address takes the representation of a blockchain address and instead provides the user with a username. This username is then used for all of the transactions, and this is enabled by IOV's BCP system, which stands for Blockchain Communications Protocol. And the Blockchain Communications Protocol enables interoperability between blockchains, allowing users to transact between blockchains as a whole. So let's see how it works and move to demo. Here we have Alice and Bob. Alice is on the left, Bob is on the right. They're both blockchain users, and Bob uses blockchain to manage his assets. And in this case, Bob uses blockchain to indicate shareholders in his business. Bob wants more funding, and Alice wants to invest in Bob's business. So they negotiate over the phone and reach an agreement with Alice offering 10,000 cash tokens for 10 of Bob's share tokens. So Alice opens her wallet and puts up an atomic swap transaction by providing the agreed upon details. Bob sees the transaction in his wallet and puts up the counteroffer of 10 share tokens. Once Bob fills in the transaction details and submits a counteroffer, Alice will see the transaction in her wallet. And this is completely done on two separate blockchains, with Alice and Bob on their own blockchains. So now that Alice has seen that the transaction is in her wallet, she releases it, since it's the same thing that they agreed on. And then Bob can release his tokens because the transaction has gone all the way through. Now Bob's released his tokens. Both users have swapped tokens easily and securely using IOV's technology. So let's return to presentation. Return to presentation. There we go. IOV builds the tools for next-generation blockchain technology. This includes our blockchain name service and the blockchain communication protocol. The blockchain name service acts as a lookup service for blockchain. It's very similar to how DNS works in Firefox and Chrome. Additionally, we enable cross-chain exchanges. This is similar to cloud currency technology. The blockchain market is in its early stages. And is projected to be $176 billion by 2025, according to research by Gartner. IOV sells enterprise licenses for the BCP and capitalizes on its first mover advantage by partnerships with Fortune 500 companies and blockchain payment processors. Stellar Network enables atomic swap and human name registration, but they missed the multi-blockchain world's vision. and they position themselves at the center of the ecosystem with their token. Ethereum and the 0x project enable name lookup by repurposing old technology that does not need blockchain to function. IOV solves these issues by building new technology from the ground up and in a well-documented manner, and provides it for free for non-commercial use for private developers. This will aid adoption of our technology among that group. Myself and my co-founders are all blockchain early adopters, and I launched the Lisp mainnet, which is the backbone of the Lisp blockchain, which is now worth over $1.1 billion market cap. Join the IOV Connect movement today and visit iov.one.
All right, judges.
I'm going to jump in here. It's a good presentation. Obviously, this is a huge problem to solve. I like the way you're selling enterprise licenses to kind of larger institutions. Are you actually going out now? I mean, how mature, at what stage you're at the moment, and what stage you're in the kind of the cycle of selling this?
So I appreciate your question. At the current state, we're only in discussions with enterprises as we are in the alpha stages of the development of our product. So we're in discussion, but we haven't got anything concrete yet. You've
got interest and you're kind of early. So I think the product looks great. Where are you with, how do you kind of sit in the space with other cross-chain relays like Cosmos, Polkadot, and the kind of transactional swapping of, on those swaps type technology?
Can you say that one more time? I didn't hear the last part.
Where do you sit in the landscape of other technology with other big projects that are coming out? So you've got big projects with a lot of funding, you kind of new guys, kind of you're small. How are you going to compete, and where do you fit in in this landscape?
So the way that we're going to enable adoption is by giving small-time developers the ability to use our technology and build their blockchain on our technology. In comparison with other projects, such as Stellar, we're not interested in being the center. We don't want to be the middleman. We're enabling everyone to do the swap without a middleman. We give them the technology to do that, and that's what we're about to do.
Are there any fees associated with the swaps, or any transaction fees?
The transaction fees are related to the blockchains themselves. So whoever implements the technology is welcome to add fees to their chain, but whatever fee you swap from, you're paying the fee on the chain that you're swapping from. So there's nobody in the middle collecting the fee between the two parties, only the people securing the networks themselves.
Can I ask, how complicated is the technology you're trying to build? So obviously, is that one of the barriers, or is the barrier that you're just going to be first?
Thank you for the question. The barriers to entry are really more related to technological implementation. So in order for Atomic Swap to work, both sides have to support it. And since nobody has a standardized protocol implemented on multiple chains, it's very difficult to do it. So you can do it on one chain. It's very easy to do on one chain because target A and target B are on the same chain, right? All of the information's in the same chain. Whereas if you want to go from one chain to another chain, you have to have a technique for either sharing that information on the back end using inter-blockchain communications, or you need a different way, such as pre-image hashes, where you share it on the client side instead. And that's our approach. It's a much more scalable approach because then you don't have to peg each blockchain together in the way Cosmos does. You only need to have the client built to support it.
If I understand what you're doing correctly, I think you're creating a DNS, which is a centralized entity, to hold the public keys, to refer to the public keys of your users, right? So you're kind of implementing a centralized entity on top of a decentralized network. So I'm not quite sure what the effect of doing that would do, but I'm just wondering if that, to some extent, is a misuse of the network, or could that cause any issues?
Thank you for your question. we're not building a centralized entity in the sense of like a Facebook, right? We're building a decentralized network that will allow anybody to interface with it. If somebody wants to have an account, they need to register it on the network, but we don't own it. It's publicly available technology, and anybody can stand up a node. So if you wanted to register a name, you could stand up a node and have a copy of the ledger for yourself because of the nature of decentralized ledger technology.
So the database of the matching from the long key to the short key is going to be available to every node in the network, not just to you guys?
That's correct. It will be built so that it's a permissionless system. Anybody with a private key can register a name on the network, and then that private key will permanently be matched to that public key.
Got it, thanks.
Security is a big issue today for crypto. How does your solution enhance wallet safety or security around?
Thank you. One of the fundamental issues with cryptocurrencies is the way that keys are stored. In general, if we look at Bitcoin and Electrum, people store them in plain text on their hard drive. If we look at the way that Lisk does it, you've got a 12-word passphrase, right? And they might write that down or keep it in a notepad document on a USB drive. Our approach is instead to encrypt it in storage using our BCP system. So from the ground up, it's built to only allow encrypted storage. You'll never be able to extract that key from that encrypted storage without the encrypted password.
But there's a lot of other wallets that aim to do the same thing, right? Or how are you differentiating against some of these other soft wallets?
The majority of these wallets actually focus on one blockchain or very similar blockchains. So if somebody wants one that works with Bitcoin, it will probably work with Litecoin as well with some minor modifications. Our approach is instead to provide an adaptive interface that will support both SecP and ED25519, so that you can have either kind of key stored in our wallet, because to derive the private key or the public key pair, you only need the input. So we can provide inputs for multiple systems, so we can get a Lisk address or we can get an Ethereum address, all from the same passphrase. And since it's all secured in the same vault, we don't have to worry about each blockchain individually, because the key is stored safely in our system.
Are you planning on adding any pricing indexes? Because you'll be enabling a lot of transactions between very disparate tokens, tokens that represent physical properties, tokens that represent cash or some monetary value. So it seems there's an opportunity here to create cross indexes based on the transactions that happen on the platform.
Okay, so thank you for the question. And in order to answer that, I have to specifically say that IOV will not be in the middle of all of these transactions. We're providing the tools and the technology to build blockchains. So transactions can occur on two other chains, the Cash and the Share chain, but the IOV chain doesn't know about it because it doesn't have to. Will it be possible to build a decentralized order book? Absolutely. And we hope that somebody does, and maybe we'll do it too. Maybe we'll do it and provide it as part of our tool set. But from the beginning, we can't track all of the transactions unless we have direct access to all of those chains by running a node or having an Explorer node.
Thank you.
What's your strategy to get distribution and to get scale?
To get scale? Yeah. So part of our strategy includes partnerships with enterprise clients, providing the technology for free in a very similar system to the way Unity is licensed. So private developers will be able to use our system to build the backend for their video game or licensing or whatever they're trying to do that requires security and cryptography. And for those users, they'll be able to use it and they'll tell their friends about it, and it'll grow from that way. So we have two different approaches. One is working with enterprise clients, and the other is targeting private consumers who wish to develop on blockchain.
Any other questions?
So the kind of successes previously of like Ethereum and Neo, they've had big communities of developers. I mean, that's going to be really key for you to kick this all off if this has a chance. So I'd say that's one of your main focuses that should be on. I think it's really interesting. So you've got a test net running now. Where are you in the stage of test net to mainnet and crowd sale? Where are you?
So current state, we have an internal testnet with multiple different chains running, all able to swap, and there's an automated system that swaps between them very regularly to just ensure it works. We will be doing a public alpha in the coming months, maybe a month or two, and we have a very large community already. We have over 3,600 followers on Telegram as of earlier today. So we've got a lot of interest. There's a lot of interest both from the investment side and from the usage side. It's just a matter of being able to release tools that are usable for them to consume. And we don't want to release something broken, because I have experience when you release a blockchain, if it's broken, a lot of people get mad, and it's very hard to fix afterwards.
So what was your previous blockchain project?
I'm sorry?
What was your previous blockchain project?
I was the system architect for Lisk. I launched the Lisk mainnet, and I managed it for 6 months by myself.
And you've got a Cosmos guy on your team as well, right?
One more time?
You've got a Cosmos person on your team.
Yes, there is a formal Cosmos developer on our team, Ethan Frey.
All right, we're out of time, so give it up one more time for IOV.